Your body softens, your breath deepens, and the world begins to blur. This chapter explores the exact moment you fall asleep, what switches off, what turns on, and how your brain gently lets go. It's not a sudden fall, but a quiet letting go, like slipping beneath warm water. You begin your journey into the most mysterious hours of your day. A gateway opens and beyond it, dreams begin to bloom. The day has settled behind you. Your body lies still now, wrapped in warmth, quiet beneath the surface of noise. You can feel the slow rhythm of your breathing, the heaviness in your limbs that wasn't there just moments ago. And somewhere just out of reach, a softness tugs at your thoughts, loosening them thread by thread. This is the beginning of sleep. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no switch, no dramatic closing of a door. Instead, it's like a room gradually darkening as the sun sets. Your thoughts become less structured. Time slows, stretches. The chatter of the waking world grows faint, like the echo of waves heard from behind a thick curtain as you drift. Your brain enters a delicate threshold called Stage 1 sleep, a lightest of all stages, a twilight between wakefulness and slumber. Here, your body begins its gentle surrender. Muscles relax, eyelids grow heavy. Sometimes, a sudden jerk, a hypnic jerk, reminds you you're still here. It's your body testing the bridge before crossing it. In this threshold, your brain waves begin to change. The fast, sharp beta waves of waking life give way to slower alpha waves, like the dimming of lights before a play begins. As you slip further, theta waves emerge smoother, slower, dreamlike. You're not quite gone, but you're no longer fully present. Thoughts lose their shape. They drift like feathers caught in wind. You may imagine a sound that isn't there, or a familiar voice whispering without a face. These are hypnagogic hallucinations, the strange and fragile images that appear as consciousness unknots. They are the first flickers of the dream world. Peeking through, your thalamus, the gatekeeper of sensory information, begins to close its doors. During the day, it's busy routing sights, sounds, smells, touches into awareness. But now, it starts to dim the input. It stops delivering every rustle and creak, letting your mind retreat into quieter spaces. This is how sleep protects you from the world outside. But another gate swings open as the senses step back. The default mode network, a constellation of brain regions active during rest and introspection, begins to stir. It has been waiting. Now, with fewer distractions, it begins to hum. This is where the self reflects, rewinds, wanders. You start to think less about the world and more about feeling. Your body temperature drops slightly, signaling the shift. Within, the heart slows, muscles settle. Your brain is releasing adenosine, sleep pressure chemical that's been building all day. It's like sand being poured into the hourglass of wakefulness. And as that hourglass empties, a gentle heaviness fills your bones. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness, flows more freely now. It signals to every cell that it's time to pause, to repair, to release. There is beauty in this desire. Part of your body knows how to sleep. You don't need to force it. You just need to allow it. The prefrontal cortex, your center for planning, judgment, decision-making, begins to dim like a lantern running out of oil. This is why you feel foggy here, why logic becomes soft, pliable, blurred. The very part of you that organizes your life begins to let go of control. And without its grip, imagination quietly takes its place in this moment. Sleep spindles sudden bursts of brain activities, park and dance across your cortex. They look like little shimmers on a dark sea. Scientists believe they help protect you from waking too easily, buffering the brain from disruptions. Like lullabies made of electricity, they rock you deeper into unconsciousness. And somewhere in all this, you forget to notice. You forget the weight of the blanket. You forget what time it is. You forget the line between thinking and dreaming. This is the crossing. It's subtle, tender. You're not dragged into sleep, you're invited. And your acceptance comes not in words, but in stillness. Outside the world is the same, but inside your world is changing. Your brain no longer needs to respond, only to reorganize. You are not unconscious. You are elsewhere. A strange quiet fills you, but it's not empty. It's full of flickering potential memories, images, future fears, old feelings, all gently waiting, like dancers backstage. Because in sleep, your mind will revisit them. It will choose which to keep, which to forget, and which to reshape into something entirely new. Sleep isn't just escape, it's architecture. Your brain is rebuilding even now, but not yet, not fully. Right now, you are still floating on the surface, not quite dreaming, not quite awake. Your breath is steady. Your heartbeat is soft. Neurons still whisper gently, syncing with the body's rhythms, aligning with the darkness of the room. This is stage one, and you are sailing through its quiet waters, and soon, stage two will take you further. Stage two is where real sleep begins, the threshold deepens, and sleep spindles and K-complexes, sudden large waves of neural activity begin to anchor you. You become less responsive to the world. Your body truly rests here. Muscles unwind. Heart rate drops a little more. You are not aware of the moment you pass from one stage to another. No one is. It's part of the gift of sleep that it comes without asking, without needing your attention. It gives you release without explanation. And the body, wise and wordless, knows the path instinctively. You may wonder, why is it that we lose consciousness every night? Why do we need to disappear in order to stay whole? Because your brain is not a machine. It is a garden, and sleep is when the gardeners arrive, clearing away waste, repairing branches, deepening roots. Thoughts you didn't finish are carried off like leaves on a stream. Emotions you didn't process are stirred gently, made lighter. What you learned today is sifted, sorted, stored, all while you rest. And yet, it all begins here with this moment, this breath, this warmth, this quiet letting go. You do not have to force sleep. You only need to surrender to its rhythm, like a tide that knows where it's going. Let your thoughts drift. Let them dissolve. Let your mind become like water, shapeless, flowing, still, because now you are ready to slip beneath the surface, to leave the edge behind. And as your body eases into deeper rest, your mind begins to prepare for what comes next. Waves that rise, currents that shape, and brain rhythms that speak in patterns and pulses. Because in the layers beneath this moment, your brain is about to begin something extraordinary. The night deepens around you, soft and still. Your body has already begun to relax, like a leaf settling onto quiet water. And now, within the quiet sanctuary of your skull, something beautiful begins to stir, a symphony of pulses, waves, and patterns. Your brain, though resting, is far from silent. It sings in frequencies as the last threads of waking thought unwind. Your brain shifts out of its daytime rhythm. Gone are the sharp, fast beta waves that kept you alert, waves like tiny stones skipping across a pond. You've already passed through the alpha state, the relaxed lull just before sleep, where thoughts slow but still drift like clouds across your mind. Now, your brain begins to hum in theta. Theta waves are slower, more rounded, like distant whale songs underwater. They mark the entrance into stage 1 and stage 2, sleep the light phases that form the bridge from wakefulness to the deeper night. You've been here before hundreds, thousands of times, and yet each crossing is quietly unique. In stage 2, you are no longer awake. You are submerged, no longer floating, but drifting. Your body's core temperature lowers slightly, heart rate slows. If someone called your name, you might not hear it. You're not dreaming yet, but the dream lanterns are being lit, and as this stage deepens, something remarkable happens. Tiny bursts of electricity appear on the wave's short, rhythmic flares called sleep spindles. They look, to scientists peering through IG monitors, like narrow spirals or silken threads, brief but brilliant. These spindles protect your sleep. They act like a hush, shielding your mind from small disturbances, outside noise, shifting limbs, creaking floors. With them come the K-complex, sudden flashes of voltage that rise and fall like gentle thunder in your brain. These are moments of deepening, moments where your brain briefly wakes, checks the room, and returns to slumber. You may not know this as you rest, but your brain does. Each wave is a message. Each rhythm is a gate, and then deeper still you enter stage 3. The stage of delta. These delta waves are long and slow. They roll across your brain like the tide across sand, slow enough to count, vast enough to feel. Here, you are unreachable. Even your dreams grow quiet. This is the deepest sleep, the body's temple of restoration. Your breathing slows to its lowest rhythm. Muscles grow heavier. The immune system begins its repair work. The brain clears out waste. Tiny molecules swept away like dust in a river. This is the stage children need to grow. The stage athletes crave for recovery. It's when hormones are released, when muscles rebuild, when memory begins to settle into stone. You rarely remember this stage, but it remembers you. Sometimes the body will shift, turn, murmur, but the mind is still. And the deeper into delta you go, the more profound your healing becomes. Your body softens, your breath deepens, and the world begins to blur. This chapter explores the exact moment you fall asleep, what switches off, what turns on, and how your brain gently lets go. It's not a sudden fall, but a quiet letting go, like slipping beneath warm water. You begin your journey into the most mysterious hours of your day. A gateway opens, and beyond it, dreams begin to bloom. The day has settled behind you. Your body lies still now, wrapped in warmth, quiet beneath the surface of noise. You can feel the slow rhythm of your breathing, the heaviness in your limbs that wasn't there just moments ago. And somewhere just out of reach, a softness tugs at your thoughts, loosening them thread by thread. This is the beginning of sleep. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no switch, no dramatic closing of a door. Instead, it's like a room gradually darkening as the sun sets. Your thoughts become less structured. Time slows, stretches. The chatter of the waking world grows faint, like the echo of waves heard from behind a thick curtain as you drift. Your brain enters a delicate threshold called Stage 1 Sleepa, lightest of all stages, a twilight between wakefulness and slumber. Here, your body begins its gentle surrender. Muscles relax. Eyelids grow heavy. Sometimes, a sudden hypnic jerk reminds you you're still here. It's your body testing the bridge before crossing it. In this threshold, your brain waves begin to change. The fast, sharp beta waves of waking life give way to slower alpha waves, like the dimming of lights before a play begins. As you slip further, theta waves emerge smoother, slower, dreamlike. You're not quite gone, but you're no longer fully present. Thoughts lose their shape. They drift like feathers caught in wind. You may imagine a sound that isn't there, or a familiar voice whispering without a face. These are hypnagogic hallucinations, the strange and fragile images that appear as consciousness unknots. They are the first flickers of the dream world. Peeking through, your thalamus, the gatekeeper of sensory information, begins to close its doors. During the day, it's busy routing sights, sounds, smells, touches into awareness. But now, it starts to dim the input. It stops delivering every rustle and creak, letting your mind retreat into quieter spaces. This is how sleep protects you from the world outside. But another gate swings open as the senses step back. The default mode network, constellation of brain regions active during rest and introspection, begins to stir. It has been waiting. Now, with fewer distractions, it begins to hum. This is where the self reflects, rewinds, wanders. You start to think less about the world and more about feeling. Your body temperature drops slightly, signaling the shift. Within, the heart slows, muscles settle. Your brain is releasing adenosine, sleep pressure chemical that's been building all day. It's like sand being poured into the hourglass of wakefulness. And as that hourglass empties, a gentle heaviness fills your bones. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness, flows more freely now. It signals to every cell that it's time to pause, to repair, to release. There is beauty in this design. Part of your body knows how to sleep. You don't need to force it. You just need to allow it. The prefrontal cortex, your center for planning, judgment, decision-making, begins to dim like a lantern running out of oil. This is why you feel foggy here, why logic becomes soft, pliable, blurred. The very part of you that organizes your life begins to let go of control. And without its grip, imagination quietly takes its place in this moment. Sleep spindles, sudden bursts of brain activities, park and dance across your cortex. They look like little shimmers on a dark sea. Scientists believe they help protect you from waking too easily, buffering the brain from disruptions. Like lullabies made of electricity, they rock you deeper into unconsciousness. And somewhere in all this, you forget to notice. You forget the weight of the blanket. You forget what time it is. You forget the line between thinking and dreaming. This is the crossing. It's subtle, tender. You're not dragged into sleep, you're invited. And your acceptance comes not in words, but in stillness. Outside, the world is the same. But inside, your world is changing. Your brain no longer needs to respond, only to reorganize. You are not unconscious. You are elsewhere. A strange quiet fills you, but it's not empty. It's full of flickering potential memories, images, future fears, old feelings, all gently waiting, like dancers backstage. Because in sleep, your mind will revisit them. It will choose which to keep, which to forget, and which to reshape into something entirely new. Sleep isn't just escape, it's architecture. Your brain is rebuilding even now, but not yet, not fully. Right now, you are still floating on the surface, not quite dreaming, not quite awake. Your breath is steady, your heartbeat is soft. Neurons still whisper gently, syncing with the body's rhythms, aligning with the darkness of the room. This is stage 1, and you are sailing through its quiet waters, and soon, stage 2 will take you further. Stage 2 is where real sleep begins, the threshold deepens, and sleep spindles and K-complexes, sudden large waves of neural activity begin to anchor you. You become less responsive to the world. Your body truly rests here. Muscles unwind. Heart rate drops a little more. You are not aware of the moment you pass from one stage to another. No one is. It's part of the gift of sleep that it comes without asking, without needing your attention. It gives you release without explanation. And the body, wise and wordless, knows the path instinctively. You may wonder, why is it that we lose consciousness every night? Why do we need to disappear in order to stay whole? Because your brain is not a machine. It is a garden, and sleep is when the gardeners arrive, clearing away waste, repairing branches, deepening roots. Thoughts you didn't finish are carried off like leaves on a stream. Emotions you didn't process are stirred gently, made lighter. What you learned today is sifted, sorted, stored, all while you rest. And yet, it all begins here with this moment, this breath, this warmth, this quiet letting go. You do not have to force sleep. You only need to surrender to its rhythm, like a tide that knows where it's going. Let your thoughts drift. Let them dissolve. Let your mind become like water, shapeless, flowing, still, because now you are ready to slip beneath the surface, to leave the edge behind. And as your body eases into deeper rest, your mind begins to prepare for what comes next. Waves that rise, currents that shape, and brain rhythms that speak in patterns and pulses. Because in the layers beneath this moment, your brain is about to begin something extraordinary. The night deepens around you, soft and still. Your body has already begun to relax, like a leaf settling onto quiet water. And now, within the quiet sanctuary of your skull, something beautiful begins to stir, a symphony of pulses, waves, and patterns. Your brain, though resting, is far from silent. It sings in frequencies as the last threads of waking thought unwind. Your brain shifts out of its daytime rhythm. Gone are the sharp, fast beta waves that kept you alert waves, like tiny stones skipping across a pond. You've already passed through the alpha state, the relaxed lull just before sleep, where thoughts slow but still drift like clouds across your mind. Now, your brain begins to hum in theta. Theta waves are slower, more rounded, like distant whale songs underwater. They mark the entrance into stage 1 and stage 2. Sleep the light phases that form the bridge from wakefulness to the deeper night. You've been here before hundreds, thousands of times, and yet each crossing is quietly unique. In stage 2, you are no longer awake. You are submerged, no longer floating, but drifting. Your body's core temperature lowers slightly, heart rate slows. If someone called your name, you might not hear it. You're not dreaming yet. But the dream lanterns are being lit, and as this stage deepens, something remarkable happens. Tiny bursts of electricity appear on the wave's short, rhythmic flares called sleep spindles. They look, to scientists, peering through IG monitors, like narrow spirals or silken threads, brief but brilliant. These spindles protect your sleep. They act like a hush, shielding your mind from small disturbances, outside noise, shifting limbs, creaking floors. With them come the K-complex, SIDN, flashes of voltage that rise and fall like gentle thunder in your brain. These are moments of deepening, moments where your brain briefly wakes, checks the room, and returns to slumber. You may not know this as you rest, but your brain does. Each wave is a message. Each rhythm is a gate. And then, deeper still, you enter stage 3. The stage of delta. These delta waves are long and slow. They roll across your brain like the tide across sand, slow enough to count, vast enough to feel. Here, you are unreachable. Even your dreams grow quiet. This is the deepest sleep, the body's temple of restoration. Your breathing slows to its lowest rhythm. Muscles grow heavier. The immune system begins its repair work. The brain clears out waste, tiny molecules swept away like dust in a river. This is the stage children need to grow. The stage athletes crave for recovery. It's when hormones are released, when muscles rebuild, when memory begins to settle into stone. You rarely remember this stage, but it remembers you. Sometimes the body will shift, turn, murmur, but the mind is still. And the deeper into delta you go, the more profound your healing becomes. But this stage does not last forever. The night is not a straight tunnel, it loops, spirals. Sleep is a cycle, not a slope. And now, something begins to change. The slow waves start to lift. Theta returns. Spindles rise again. You ascend the curve. And then on your first full rotation, you enter the most mysterious stage of all. REM sleep. Rapid eye movement. Though your body lies still, your eyes begin to flicker under your lids, scanning worlds invisible to waking life. Your muscles are paralyzed by design, an ancient safeguard to keep you from acting out your dreams. But inside your skull, there is lightning. Brain activity surges. In REM, your brain lights up in ways almost identical to wakefulness. The visual cortex activates. The emotional centers glow. Memories spark. Associations bend. Time warps. In this strange intensity, dreams arise. This stage is where stories form. REM isn't just about visions, it's emotional, integrative. The amygdala, your emotional processor, becomes more active than during the day. This is why dreams can feel so real, so vivid, so charged with meaning. A glance can carry a lifetime. A place can echo with feeling you can't explain, even when it makes no sense. Your dreaming mind accepts it. You fly, you fall, you cry, you speak to someone who's been gone for years, and it all feels true. REM is where your brain learns what mattered. It replays moments with new color, merges ideas, scrambles the known into patterns yet to be understood. Some scientists believe this is the soil where creativity grows. And then, as quietly as it came, REM recedes. You return to stage 1, then 2, then deep again. And again the cycle flows. Every 90 minutes, this rhythm repeats: light, deep REM, like the turning of a tide, like breathing at the scale of the night. Each cycle carries different weight. Earlier in the night, deep sleep is dominant tour, body's time to heal. Later, REM sleep stretches longer, your mind's time to explore. And while you may sleep for 7 or 8 hours, your brain dances through 5 or 6 of these cycles, weaving layers of rest and story. You never notice the shifts. You aren't meant to, but the rhythm stays with you, like waves against a distant shore, always returning, always shaping. And these brainwaves, theta, delta, REM, are not just patterns on a graph. They are the very language of restoration. They remind you that sleep is not passive, it is active, creative, alive, and now. As your brain moves into its second cycle, perhaps already halfway through E2R lighter, dreaming more, the mind is rearranging pieces of the day like puzzle pieces in the dark, finding shapes and meaning that daylight couldn't see. You're not simply resting, you're reorganizing the self, and the self, in sleep, is not bound by rules. It can become child, elder, memory, song. In REM, you are every version of yourself, refracted through thought and time. And yet, even here, deeper questions remain. What causes the brain to choose some dreams and not others? Why does REM sleep hold such mystery, even after decades of study? What is your mind truly doing when it tells you a story in the dark? Maybe it's remembering, maybe it's imagining, maybe somewhere between the two it is healing, and soon we will step into that flickering place. That dream, the one shaped by REM, awaits you in the next breath of the night. You lie still. The room hasn't changed, but inside you, something has. Your body rests in silence, perfectly still beneath the blanket, but behind your closed eyelids tiny flutters. Your eyes dart left, then right, as if scanning a world no one else can see. This is REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the dream maker's stage, the most paradoxical of all sleep stages. Your brain is alive with electrical fire. Your body, meanwhile, is locked in soft stillness. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your heart rate rises. Your blood pressure shifts and sways like a tide. And yet two are completely still. This is REM atonia, gentle paralysis, woven into the fabric of REM sleep. Your brain deliberately disconnects your muscles so that your body cannot act out the vivid stories playing in your mind. It's a safety mechanism, one millions of years in the making. Without it, dreams might lead your arms to flail your legs, to run your mouth, to speak words not meant for waking ears. Instead, the dream lives only within you, and what a dream it is. During REM, your brain becomes a lantern, not dimmed, not quiet, but bright, flickering, full of movement. In fact, in this stage, your brain activity rivals sometimes exceeds what it shows while awake. The visual cortex lights up, as if you were seeing with open eyes. The limbic system, home of emotion, begins to glow. The amygdala, the engine of fear and memory, pulses more strongly than during the day. But the prefrontal cortex, your voice of logic, of judgment, of realism, dims like a fading star. So what rises in its absence? Images unbound, narratives that slip and bend, time without clocks, people without faces, feelings too large to name. This is the playground of REM, a space where your brain recombines memory and sensation into stories. You are not recalling the day, you are reshaping it. Some researchers describe dreams as emotional simulations, a place where your mind replays, reprocesses, and reframes your inner world. Others see it as threat rehearsal, where your brain practices for danger using memories like stage props, that shadow that chased you, that leap you couldn't make, the voice calling from the dark. They are crafted by neural whispers, not to harm you, but to prepare you. Still others suggest REM is about creativity, where connections not possible by day bloom in the dark, linking ideas across time, merging thoughts you'd never thought to merge. And all the while, your eyes flick beneath your lids, as if watching, as if inside your dream, you are awake, and in a way, you are. Lucid dreaming often arises in REM, those rare moments when you become aware, inside the dream, that you are dreaming. Your conscious mind peeks through the curtain, and suddenly, you can fly. You can speak to someone who's gone. You can open doors that do not exist in the waking world. It's a mystery how the dreaming brain becomes self-aware, how a lucid dreamer navigates a world of illusion with clarity and choice. But even when lucidity doesn't rise, REM remains. A kind of nocturnal theater, silent from the outside, wildly alive within. And it is essential. REM is not indulgence. It is necessity. When you are deprived of REM, your brain suffers, mood shifts, memory falters, learning slows, emotional balance, FRAS. In lab studies, rats denied REM die within weeks, even if they get enough of every other sleep stage. Your body needs delta sleep to rebuild, but your mind craves REM like soil craves rain. REM sleep also plays a role in memory consolidation, particularly emotional memory. That is, the dreams of the night may decide which feelings to carry forward and which to let dissolve into mist. It's as though the brain uses REM to file the stories of your life, not just facts, but meaning. And as you sleep night, your brain may already be choosing which pieces of the day to keep, which fragments to stitch into the fabric of the self. A word someone spoke, a glance you noticed, a feeling that lingered. You may dream of it tonight, or you may not. But either way, the dream itself is doing its work. It's not randomness, it's reassembly, a kind of neural jazz, improvised, unpredictable, yet full of purpose. And the more cycles of sleep you pass through, the longer your REM stages become. Early in the night, REM is short, perhaps 5 to 10 minutes, but by morning, it may stretch to an hour. That's why dreams are often most vivid in the early dawn. Your brain is giving itself space. Your dream self has more room to roam, and all the while you remain still, wrapped in warmth. Your muscles don't. Your heart beats faster, but your limbs lie heavy. Your brain burns bright, but your body rests like stone. This is the paradox of REM. You are asleep but awake within, still but active, silent but speaking in symbols. You are, in a way, both dreamer and dream. And as the curtain begins to fall, as the REM stage wanes, your brain gently slides you back into light sleep, into stillness, into the next wave of the cycle. You will dream again, many more times. Each REM cycle, like a return to an inner theater, a story shaped from your very cells. But for now, You rest at the edge. The dream lingers behind your eyes. The emotion remains in your chest, and your body is preparing to enter a deeper rhythm still, because beyond the dream lies something even more ancient, a silence deeper than images, a stage not of motion, but of stillness, where no stories rise, only pure, unbroken sleep, and that stage awaits you now. The room is quiet, you are asleep, but your mind is drifting, not forward, not backward, inward. You find yourself standing in a hallway that doesn't quite exist. The floorboards are familiar, though they were never yours. The scent in the air is warm, wooden, and slow, like sun-drenched pages of an old book. There's a light beyond the doorway, a flicker of movement, and the soft hum of someone you once knew, though the face is unclear. You're dreaming, but not creating. Of dreaming, your dreams are built, not invented, not conjured out of nothing, but sculpted from pieces of your life, memories folded, twisted, warmed, and stretched until they become something else entirely. Your brain is using what it has, that hallway, a blend of your grandmother's house, a cafe you passed once, and the corridor of your childhood school. Your brain doesn't care if those places were never next to each other. It doesn't sleep like the rest. Even in REM, it stirs quietly, handing over fragments of recent experiences, a glance, a phrase, the soft scrape of a chair against a tiled floor. These pieces are not complete. They are shards folded into feeling, and from them the dream begins to bloom. Now, in this dream, you step outside. The air is thick with light, mist soft, golden, unreal. You walk down a familiar street, though it's wider here, slower, dream-colored. Someone waves to you from across the road. You wave back, not knowing why, but it feels right. This is not invention. It is reconstruction. Your brain uses memories like an artist uses charcoal, blending, reshaping, shading the edges. And emotion guides the hand. You are not reliving events. You are feeling them again. And this is key. The amygdala brain's emotional cores wide awake in REM when you dream, especially of people or places you once loved or feared, what it meant to you. And sometimes that meaning is hidden even from you. So here in the dream, the person you miss becomes a stranger's silhouette. The joy you never spoke of glows, like sunlight through windows that never existed. You're floating through a memory mist, not foggy because it's unclear, but because it's not fully formed. The prefrontal cortex, your rational compass, is mostly quiet during REM. It's the part of you that normally says, "This doesn't make sense." But here, it's gentle, sleeping, which is why you accept the dream's strange rules without resistance. 2 rooms merge into one. A kitchen becomes a beach. Your footsteps leave no sound, and yet the silence feels deep and full. You are in a place that only exists for you, but it is made from real things. Neuroscientists have found that during dreaming, the visual cortex becomes incredibly active, even more than when you're awake. But it's not just seeing, it's building. Your dream vision isn't made of light, it's made of memory. Visual fragments stitched together with emotional thread. Now, in the dream, the light shifts. You smell something, jasmine tea, maybe, or the shampoo your mother used when you were a child. Not a memory you can name, but a feeling so warm it hums beneath your ribs. This is no accident olfactory. Memory, the way your brain stores centers, ancient. Smell bypasses the usual relay stations and goes straight to the limbic system, straight to emotion. It's why a single scent can stir tears. Memory. It invites it in, gives it space to bloom. That scent becomes a doorway. And you walk through. Now you're somewhere else. A field, maybe. Your feet brush grass that doesn't exist, yet you feel it. Your dream body knows it. You hear laughter, a voice you can almost place. They call your name only. It's not your name now. Don't question time. You don't wonder how you got here. You just are, because dreams aren't about direction. They're about presence. You are in the feeling, and the feeling is real, not logical, not linear, but real. Because what your brain holds on to most is not the fact of the memory, but its shape, its texture, its weight. The sound of a piano through a cracked door, the softness of a familiar sleeve, the way someone looked at you before they turned away. These are the bricks of the dream. Chooses, sometimes by randomness, sometimes by need. Your brain may be healing or learning or grieving, and the dream helps it do so. Fading at the edge of your vision. A sentence you were sure mattered. A place you could swear you've never seen before. And yet, no. That's the nature of dreams, built from memory. They do not come to be held, they come to be felt. If you never recall the dream, your brain remembers the work it did, the echoes it followed, the feelings it laid to rest, and in the next cycle, perhaps in an hour, perhaps just before dawn, you may find yourself drifting again into another room that doesn't exist. On a street you've never walked, in a world shaped entirely from memory and mist. But what happens when those dreams stop looking back and start reaching forward? What if, instead of remembering, your brain begins to create something new? You lie still as twilight hues fade behind your closed lids. In the hush of night, your mind stirs and scenes begin to dance. These scenes, vivid, strange, and sometimes unsettling, are dreams. They feel like stories told in half-light, neither here nor there, lingering at the edges of reality. But why does your brain spin such tales? What purpose do these nightly voyages serve? One idea suggests that dreaming is your mind's way of solving problems. During the day, you puzzle over questions large and small: how to fix a quarrel with a friend, nail a presentation at work, or simply remember where you left your keys. When sleep envelops you, conscious thought loosens its grip. In this relaxed state, your subconscious sifts through fragments of experience and knowledge, weaving them together into unexpected combinations. You might wake with a sudden insight, an answer gleaned from a dream that seemed nonsensical at the moment. In this sense, dreams become your brain's private workshop, tinkering with ideas while the rest of you reclines in peaceful oblivion. Another theory paints dreams as the custodians of your emotions. You carry many feelings: joy, sorrow, fear, longing, like pebbles in your pockets. By day, you may not have time to sort through each one. In dreams, though, these emotions take center stage, playing out like actors on a stage. A simple memory can morph into a dramatic scene, allowing you to experience and release complex feelings safely. A dream about chasing an old friend down a long corridor might actually be your mind's gentle way of processing regret. As dawn breaks, you feel subtly lighter, as if your heart has released a sigh it couldn't voice while awake. Yet another notion suggests that dreams are rehearsals for threats. In ancient times, your ancestors faced dangers at every turn: predators in the dark, rivals at the hunt, storms on the plains. Their survival depended on quick reflexes and sharp instincts. Today, you no longer need to evade wolves, but your brain retains a blueprint for danger management. Dreams can manifest scenes of running, fighting, or escaping, as if you're training for life's challenges. The familiar rush of adrenaline in a nightmare may feel unpleasant, but it keeps your survival circuits honed. When you wake, your mind has practiced its most vital moves, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Memory consolidation offers yet another window into the world of dreams. Each day, you collect a library's worth of informations, sections, facts, and feelings, but your brain has limited storage. During sleep, particularly the stage called REM, rapid eye movement, memories are shuffled and filed away. Important experiences move from fragile short-term shelves to more stable long-term archives. Dreams may be the narrative thread that guides this process, replaying fragments of daily life in varied contexts, reinforcing neural connections. You wake not only rested but with sharper recall, as if your mind has tidied its desk overnight. All these theories, problem-solving, emotional processing, threat rehearsal, and memory consolidation offer lullaby-like logic. None alone fully explains the kaleidoscope of your nightly adventures. A dream can shift seamlessly from flying over glowing cities to reliving a childhood moment, then slipping into a surreal dialogue with an imagined stranger. These shifts hint that dreams are multifaceted, each thread weaving together distinct functions into a single tapestry. Imagine your brain as a bustling workshop, alive with diverse crafts. In one corner, mechanics tinker with ideas, assembling solutions to problems you couldn't crack awake. Nearby, artists sort your feelings, painting emotions in bold strokes so you can see and release them. In another bay, warriors spar in mock combat, rehearsing responses to unseen threats. And in the library alcove, archivists categorize and file memories for safekeeping. All these artisans work simultaneously during sleep, collaborating in a symphony of silent purpose. As you drift through these internal landscapes, time itself feels fluid. Minutes slip into hours, scenes blend and loop. You may visit places you've never seen or relive moments from decades past. The rules of waking life, physics, memory, even identity bend gracefully in dreams. Here, you can swim through the stars, speak in forgotten tongues, or find doors in walls where none exist. This boundless freedom suggests that dreams are also a playground for creativity, allowing your mind to roam beyond the limits of reality. Artists and scientists alike have long credited their breakthroughs to dream-born ideas, molecular structures glimpsed in sleep, or melodies heard in the misty hours before dawn. Despite decades of research, much about dreaming remains mysterious. Scientists still debate whether dreams carry hidden meanings or are mere byproducts of neural activity. You might dream of water because your brainstem triggers fluid processing centers, not because your subconscious yearns for a lake. Yet, even if dreams arise from random firings, your mind instinctively weaves them into coherent stories. The quest For meaning in your dreams reveals something profound about your nature. You are a storyteller, one whose imagination never sleeps, whether dreams serve a single function or many. They remind you that rest is not idleness. Sleep is a rich landscape where your mind continues to work, heal, and create. It is the space where yesterday's experiences transform into tomorrow's wisdom. And as you drift deeper into slumber, remember that each dream, no matter how strange, plays a part in the grand narrative of your life. Tonight, as you close your eyes, invite curiosity. Notice the first flutter of images, the soft murmur of imagined voices, the evolving scenes that carry you farther from wakefulness. With each breath, surrender to the journey. Let your mind explore, untethered, until dawn calls you back to the world, and when you wake, carry a piece of that dream-made insight with you, perhaps a solution waiting to unfold, a feeling waiting to be understood, or a memory waiting to settle. In the quiet between worlds, your brain whispers its gentle purpose. Even in darkness, you are growing. So rest now, and let your dreams begin their secret work, unfolding questions you have yet to ask. You settle into your pillow, heart still, carrying the echoes of the day, thoughts of smiles shared, worries endured, moments of tenderness. They swirl like embers in a gentle fire. As your eyelids close, the world dims, but within you, a different light ignites, the flame of feeling, flickering, vivid, and unpredictable. Sleep arrives, and with it, a parade of images and stories, but behind each scene lies a deeper current, the steady pulse of your emotional brain. At the core of this nocturnal theater sits the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped structure nestled deep within your temporal lobes. By day, the amygdala scans the world for emotional significance, recognizing a friend's grin, sensing danger in a sudden shout, storing the sweet comfort of a hug. By night, its activity swells. In REM sleep, you drift into a state where this emotional sentinel blazes more brightly than during waking hours. Functional MRI scans reveal that while many regions of your cortex quiet down, the amygdala and its emotional network hum with energy. It is here that your joy, your sorrow, your fears and longings come alive in technicolored dreams. Imagine your brain as a grand orchestra. During the day, the conductor calls on every section, strings for thought, woodwinds for memory, percussion for action. At night, many musicians rest, but the woodwinds of emotion swell, playing a haunting melody. You become both audience and participant in an inner symphony, where each note carries the weight of feeling. A dream may place you on a windswept cliff, the sky bruised with storm. You feel the chill and the thrill, even though your body lies warm beneath the covers. This emotional resonance is the amygdala's gift, amplifying the raw material of experience into the vivid drama of dreams. Why would your brain devote so much energy to feeling when logic could remain dormant? The answer lies in evolution's deep wisdom. Emotions let you prioritize what matters most: safety, connection, survival. In daylight, rational thought helps you navigate complex tasks, but emotion drives your attention, alerting you to a friend's distress or warning you away from peril. Sleep, then, becomes a laboratory for emotional learning. A dream that stirs your fear of falling may be less about drama and more about rehearsing an instinct preparing you to steady your step upon waking. A dream of reunion with a lost loved one may help you process grief, allowing your heart to heal in the quiet hours. In this emotional rehearsal, symbolism emerges. Argument. You might swim through a river of tears, each droplet carrying a memory. Instead of confronting a bully from your past, you may face a towering statue that crumbles at your touch. These symbols weave emotion and metaphor, speaking to your unconscious in a language older than words. Trust, a broken mirror, betrayal, a bird in flight, freedom, or loss. Each image, a stand-in for the complex tangle of feeling you carry. As the night deepens, you slip through non-REM sleep where the mind drifts through quiet visions before re-entering REM, that vivid state where emotion peaks. Neurotransmitters like acetylcholine rise, fueling cortical activation even as logical regions rest. Your prefrontal cortex, the seat of planning and judgment, takes a back seat. Without its steadying hand, your mind wanders freely, letting emotion steer the ship. Pet, soaring above a city of molten glass, or standing alone in a forest that whispers your name. In this place, the heart speaks before the mind can ask why. Yet emotion in dreams is not mere drama. It serves critical functions. Strong feelings in a safe environment, you can desensitize yourself to them. Nightmares, though unpleasant, may help you face fears repeatedly, reducing their sting by dawn. This process, known as extinction learning, rewires your brain's responses. A frightening dream of drowning may leave you anxious upon waking, but over many nights, the recurrent imagery can weaken that fear's connection to real water. Like a muscle gaining strength through repeated strain, your emotional resilience builds each time you face a dream's terror and awake to safety. Dreams also help you integrate emotional memories. During waking hours, an upsetting event can leave you unmoored, its intensity unprocessed. In REM sleep, the amygdala teams up with the hippocampus, the brain's memory archivist, to replay emotional experiences. But this replay is not mere repetition. It unfolds in new contexts with altered narratives that tease out different perspectives. A dream of a tense conversation at work may shift you from the role of employee to observer, allowing you to feel compassion for your own stress. This recontextualization weaves your emotional memories into the broader tapestry of your self-understanding. Perhaps you crave connection or carry guilt over a past action. In sleep, these feelings float to the surface, taking shape in scenes of longing or apology. A dream of dancing alone under moonlight may speak to a desire for freedom. By paying attention to these nocturnal messages, you glimpse facets of your heart that sleep often hides. Consider the child who dreams of school before their first day of class. They may feel excitement and fear. In the dream, they stumble through an unfamiliar hallway or strike up an instant friendship. When morning comes, the child feels prepared emotionally, rehearsed for the real event. In your own life, dreams may serve similar roles, tuning your emotional compass for challenges to come. A dream of giving a speech, though anxiety, may reduce your real-world nerves by allowing you to practice vulnerability and triumph in safety. Even positive emotions gain from dream time. A dream of laughter with dear friends bathes your mind in gentle warmth, reinforcing social bonds. A dream of discovering a hidden garden may kindle creativity, reminding you to seek wonder in daily life. seeding morning with gratitude and curiosity. All the while, your brain balances these emotional processes with restorative needs. Sleep restores neurotransmitter levels, clears metabolic waste, and consolidates skills learned by day. Dreams, woven through this physiological renewal, are not sidetracks, but integral to the healing that sleep provides. And restoration makes sleep a marvel of biological design. Nightly pilgrimage, where mind and heart travel together. As twilight transitions to dawn, your final dreams of the night may feel especially vivid, as if the heart has one last invitation to dance before the curtain rises on morning. You may awaken mid-scene, breath caught, heart racing. In that moment, the boundary between dream and waking feels thin. The residue of emotion lingers, a bittersweet farewell from your sleeping self. When you finally stir, your mind still hazy. These souvenirs remind you that sleep is more than rest. It is a canvas on which the emotional brain paints its deepest strokes. Even if the details slip away, the feelings stay confidence, gentle sadness, lingering wonder. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember that emotion never clocks out. Your heart keeps its own vigil, guiding you through the landscapes of dream. Invite your feelings to speak not with logic's voice, but with the language of symbols and sensation. Let the amygdala's whispers guide you through scenes of drama and beauty, teaching you what truly matters when words fall silent in this sacred time between worlds. Emotion is your companion. It reminds you that you are not merely thinker, but feeler, not just a machine for logic, but a being of heart. As you surrender to sleep, trust that your emotional brain is at work, processing, healing, rehearsing, celebrating. Understand every scene, yet each carries its own wisdom, whispered in the theater of your mind. Rest now and open to the drama of dreams. Of sleep and feeling, you discover the deepest stories of who you are and awaken, ready to live them. And as your mind softens into slumber, notice how emotion weaves its silent magic, hinting at the next chapter's secret question. What happens when memory and feeling entwine in the tender hours before dawn? Twilight, and each step echoes softly among trees that shimmer in impossible hues, emeralds that glow like embers, golds that drift like whispering wind, and purples that hum with hushed mystery. Pages of a living book, each one poised to drift. You pause, noticing how motion seems suspended, as if time itself holds its breath. This is no ordinary woodland, but a stage for a symbolic dream woven by your emotional brain under gentle lamplight. Of REM sleep, in this dream of falling leaves, your senses awaken. The scent of damp earth rises with a soothing resonance, grounding you in the present, even as your mind roams free. Each breath you take feels like an invitation to linger, to notice the soft rustle overhead. Leaves shimmer and detach, spiraling downward in slow arcs, like dancers descending from a lofty stage. You reach out to catch one, but it drifts beyond your fingertips, reminding you that beauty often slips through our grasp. Your mind drifts to questions of falling. What does it feel like to surrender to gravity's pull? When you fall in waking life, tired, overwhelmed, uncertain, the heart trembles with fear. But in this world, falling unfolds as a meditation. You watch a crimson leaf glide downward, twirling in gentle spirals, and you feel your own anxieties shed like foliage. Each leaf becomes a fragment of worry, released into the air, carried away by currents unseen. Above you, branches arch overhead like cathedral vaults. Light filters through in spectral beams, illuminating motes of golden dust that drift around you. These particles shimmer like neurons, firing in the amygdala, tiny sparks that ignite emotion. Your dream becomes a neural dance, where memory and feeling drift like leaves, carried into new configurations. You sense that falling here is not failure, but transformation, a chance to let go and become part of something larger. A soft breeze stirs the canopy, and suddenly the world feels alive with quiet conversation. Leaves swirl around you, tracing invisible currents. They cluster briefly, then drift apart, reminding you of connections, how each moment joins others in a subtle network. Your relationships, your memories, your feelings, they all move through your mind in interwoven patterns. In this dream, each leaf is a memory or emotion descending to be processed by your sleeping brain. You step forward again. The forest floor feels cushioned, as though velvet moss has grown to cradle your feet. You notice impressions left by other travelers' footprints that glow softly before fading. You realize you are part of a larger story, one that extends beyond your solitary presence. Others have walked this path in dreams long ago, a silent procession of seekers exploring the heart's hidden corridors. Your dream aligns with theirs, threaded by the same longing for understanding. Light shifts as the sky overhead deepens from twilight to star-filled night. Stars glint like distant memories awakening above you. A single leaf, pale as lunar light, floats downward. You catch it and feel its texture, fragile yet resilient. Its veins trace intricate patterns, reminiscent of neural pathways mapping emotion. You hold it gently, recognizing that vulnerability and strength often entwine. The leaf trembles in your palm, reminding you that to feel deeply is to be alive. A soft call drifts through the branches, your own voice, echoing from some hidden cleft within the trees. It asks, "What do we carry when we fall?" You close your eyes and listen. The answer comes as a whisper. Every leaf is a lesson. In its surrender, each sample of colored green lets go of its branch to nourish the soil below. In falling, it transforms, seeding future growth. You let the leaf go. It rises on a rising current, then drifts back down in a slow spiral. You realize that falling need not be one-way descent, but part of a cycle: release, reflection, renewal. As the leaf joins the dance, you sense your own heart aligning with this rhythm. Emotions once tangled become soothed by the forest's hush. Memories once sharp soften as they touch the ground. Around you, the forest seems to lean in, as if sharing a secret. The trees hum in unison, a low vibration that resonates in your chest. This is the lullaby of the emotional brain, and undercurrent of transformation playing beneath conscious thought. Here, the amygdala and hippocampus mingle in symbolic reverie, stitching fragments of feeling into new narratives. As you walk, falling leaves accumulate at your feet like an offering. You pause where a stream glides beside the path. The water glimmers, reflecting the kaleidoscopic canopy above. You dip a finger in, and ripples echo outwards. Each ripple mirrors the dance of leaves, connecting drop to drop, leaf to leaf. In this interplay, you glimpse how emotion and memory flow together, weaving currents through your inner landscape. The path narrows, guiding you to a clearing ringed by ancient oaks. Their trunks stand tall like silent sentinels, guardians of nocturnal wisdom. In their presence, you sense the forest's heartbeat, a measured rhythm matching your own. A carpet of leaves covers the ground, each one glowing softly. You lie down among them, feeling the cool cushion beneath you. The canopy above sways gently, filtering moonlight that paints patterns on your eyelids. Lying there, you gaze up at shifting leaves drifting across the sky. In their patterns, you see the shape of your own emotions: joy, melancholy, sorrow. Each leaf a fleeting embodiment. Watching them fall, you understand that feeling is movement. It arises, drifts, and transforms. To fall and to feel are intertwined. Through falling, you learn the contours of your own heart. A single leaf detaches above and lands on your chest. You feel its cool touch, a reminder of gentle presence. You breathe in, then out, matching your rhythm to the forest's hush. In this rhythm, you sense the merging of dream and science, of poetic symbolism and neural reality. Each leaf falling is an emotion processed, a memory integrated, a fear released soon. A soft light emerges at the forest's edge, hint of dawn stirring beyond the trees. The leaves shimmer one final time, as if bowing in farewell. You rise and step toward the light, leaving the clearing behind. As you move, the forest gradually fades, its colors melting into morning's gentle glow. But in your heart, the dream remains, a mosaic of falling leaves and quiet insight. You carry the forest's lesson. Falling can be a gift, a path to renewal. As you leave this dream realm, you feel your emotional brain's rhythms syncing with waking life, ready for the next chapter's exploration of how memory and feeling entwine. And as you step from forest into dawn's soft glow, a bridge of memory beckons you onward toward the next chapter's gentle question. How do dreams weave together what you've felt and what you've learned? You close your eyes and drift into the gentle haze of sleep. In that first shimmer beyond wakefulness, a single spark ignites, perhaps a fragment of a childhood home, the echo of a melody, or the taste of rain on warm skin. This spark awakens the brain's dream architects, your visual cortex, the region that transforms light into sight, flickers to life even without external input. Neurons begin to dance, firing in patterns that weave shapes and colors behind your eyelids. In the absence of real-world stimuli, your brain becomes its own projector, casting images onto a screen of pure imagination. As the visual tapestry unfolds, motor areas stir too. Regions of the brain usually responsible for planning movement, like reaching for a cup or walking through a room, light up even when your body lies still. It's as if your mind rehearses actions in a theater of the mind. You might feel yourself climbing a mountain, running through waves, or lifting an invisible weight. These motor activations lend a sense of physicality to your dream world. The forest floor beneath your feet feels textured. The rush of wind against your skin carries weight. Your sleeping brain borrows from circuits that anchor you in waking life to make the dream feel tangible. Memory centers join the symphony. The hippocampus, your brain's archivist, supplies the raw materials: faces you know, streets you've walked, fragments of conversations. These memory snippets feed into the sensory and motor areas, giving content to the shapes and movements. Suddenly, a door appears in your dream's landscape that looks exactly like the door of your childhood bedroom. Or you hear a voice that speaks with the cadence of someone you met long ago. The hippocampus weaves these memories into the emerging scene, and what was once random neural firing becomes coherent narrative. But the true master builder is the default mode network DMN, a constellation of regions that hum with activity. When you are not focused on the outside world, in waking life, the DMN supports daydreaming, mind-wandering, and self-reflection. At night, it steps into the spotlight. Regions like the medial prefrontal cortex and posterior cingulate cortex engage in a subtle dialogue, stitching together internal thoughts and memories into a seamless dreamscape. The DMN choreographs the dream's emotional tone, guiding you through landscapes that reflect your inner life. Imagine constructing a model city out of fragments, a cobblestone street from one memory, a garden gate from another, a distant mountain from a photograph glimpsed long ago. The DMN excels at this assembly, handing off pieces to the visual cortex for rendering and to motor areas for sensorial grounding. Your dream might shift from a sunlit meadow to a neon-lit alley without warning. That abrupt change is the DMN reconfiguring the scene, testing different narratives to see which feels most resonant. As you move through the dream world, your brain employs a navigation system akin to a GPS. The parietal lobes map spatial relationships, helping you orient yourself even in surreal environments. If you walk toward a glowing doorway, the parietal regions calculate distance and direction, giving you a sense of movement through space. This spatial mapping keeps the dream cohesive, preventing you from feeling disoriented, even when gravity shifts or time loops back on itself. Language centers may awaken too, especially if dreams involve conversation or whispered confidences. Broca's and Wernicke's areas collaborate, allowing you to understand dialogue and to speak within the dream. In these moments, language becomes a tool. Your emotional brain amygdala and insula colors the scene with feeling. A serene lake might glow with calming blues, but if the underlying memory carries anxiety, the water may ripple with an undercurrent of tension. The DMN uses these emotional hues to shape the story. Joy brightens the scenery, fear distorts it, longing deepens the shadows. All these regions coordinate under the changing rhythm of sleep stages. In non-REM sleep, the brain cycles through slow waves that help consolidate declarative memories, facts, and events, while dreams tend to be more thought-like. As you slip back into REM sleep, activity spikes in the visual cortex, limbic areas, and DMN, producing vivid story-like dreams. The contrast between these stages creates a dynamic architecture. Non-REM lays the foundation, and REM sculpts the detailed structure. At times, your dream may pause, as if the builders are consulting blueprints. You drift through a quiet corridor, noticing unfinished walls or half-formed rooms. These interludes hint at the ongoing construction beneath the surface. Then, with a gentle shift, the scenery resumes its flow, guiding you into a new wing of the dream world. This ebb and flow mirrors the brain's alternating focus, periods of consolidation punctuated by bursts of. It reuses existing neural pathways to craft new experiences, conserving energy while exploring endless possibilities. A single CETA memory of rain can sprout into a rainforest scene, complete with dripping leaves and distant howls. The DMN blends memory fragments with novel combinations, ensuring each dream is unique, yet grounded in your personal history. As you drift deeper, sensory cortices beyond vision may activate. Auditory cortex can conjure birdsong, footsteps, or distant laughter. Together, these activations create a multisensory tapestry, so convincing that you forget you are dreaming. In this woven world, your sense of self can shift, so you may appear as yourself or transform into another being entirely, an eagle soaring above mountains, or a child exploring a secret cave. This fluid identity underscores how dreams test the boundaries of your experiential self. The brain refines the dream's structure. Earlier sections of REM sleep may feel disjointed short bursts of vivid imagery, while later periods lengthen the scenes, weaving extended narratives. This progression reflects the brain's growing confidence in its internal simulations, giving you longer, more coherent journeys through imagined realms. When you finally awaken, the dream's architecture collapses like a sandcastle at high tide. The visual cortex dims, motor areas quiet, and the DMN returns to its daytime patterns of mind wandering. These remnants hint at the elaborate construction that your sleeping brain performed behind closed doors. Understanding this architecture illuminates the power of imagination. Your brain does not need external input to build entire worlds. It repurposes existing circuits to conjure landscapes as real as waking life. In that sacred space between sleep and wakefulness, the dream world teaches you how memory, perception, and emotion interlock to shape experience. Tonight, as you lie down, invite the brain's builders to their work. Notice the first spark of flash of imagery or sensation and trust the unfolding process. Let the visual cortex paint its scenes. The motor areas lend physicality. The hippocampus supply raw material, and the DMN choreograph the narrative. Together, they will guide you through worlds all your own. And as you drift, remember, within your skull lies an entire cosmos of possibility, waiting to be explored by the architecture of a dream, where memory becomes landscape, perception becomes portal, and each night's journey opens the door to new questions about how the mind creates its most wondrous illusions. You sink into sleep and feel the day slip away. In the first gentle stir of REM, time unravels. A clock on the wall drips like wax, its hands slowing, then stretching into soft rivulets of gold. You don't question this. In dreams, the brain's timekeepers loosen their grip. The superchiasmatic nucleoseur master clock rests, while cortical areas that track duration remain quiet. Without their steady beat, your mind floats in elastic moments that stretch and compress as they will. Here, minutes can pass like seconds, or a single heartbeat can stretch into an eternity. You might wander through a dream city that feels months old, then awaken moments later. Research shows that perceived dream time often mirrors waking time, but your brain constructs this impression without linking to real clocks. Instead, it uses patterns of neural activity to simulate sequences, giving you a sense of time without external cues. Your mind writes its own timeline, free from minutes and hours. As you step through a doorway, the room behind you folds like paper, collapsing into itself. Walls bend, corners meld, and new passages emerge where none existed. Spatial rules dissolve. The parietal cortex, which normally calculates your position in space, releases its hold, allowing geometry to flex. In waking life, damage to this region causes spatial disorientation. In dreams, it invites playful architecture. You wander hallways that loop back on themselves, staircases that spiral into nothingness, and skies that double as floors. In these, you see yourself in mirrors, but the reflection shows another face. Perhaps you glimpse yourself as a child, an animal, or a stranger. The default mode network, central to your sense of self, quiets one node while another lights up. Without its usual constraints, your identity becomes fluid. Vantage point, feeling both observer and participant. In this malleable space, you explore facets of self that waking life hides. Language bends alongside space and time. Words appear, floating in the air, shimmering like mist. When you touch a word, it morphs into a memory, a whispered joke from a friend, a line from a poem. Broca's and Wernicke's areas collaborate with the DMN to weave language into imagery. In dreams, speech becomes gesture, and gesture becomes syntax. You communicate without lips moving, and meaning emerges in the interplay of symbol and sensation. Emotions amplify these distortions. A friendly gesture can feel ominous. A laugh can echo as thunder. The amygdala, active in REM sleep, colors every perception with intensity. Without the prefrontal cortex's reality checks, usual role in evaluating logical consistency, your emotional brain rules, you accept paradox without resistance. A chair might sing, a child might speak with an adult's wisdom. This suspension of disbelief reveals how much of reality your waking mind shapes through judgment. Neurologically, these dream phenomena occur because key neurotransmitters shift. Monoamines like serotonin and norepinephrine drop, reducing logical inhibition. Acetylcholine rises, promoting vivid imagery. This cocktail creates a hallucinatory theater where your brain's sensory cortices simulate experience without input from the outside world. In this sterile stage, the mind experiments with scenarios that waking life would dismiss. You find yourself swimming through air, flapping arms like wings. Motor cortex regions fire as if you were flying, yet your body remains still. Proprioceptive feedback is absent, so the dream brain assumes flight is real. This blend of motor planning and sensory simulation gives you convincing sensations. When you swoop through canyons of color, you feel wind rushing against your face, though the real air around you remains calm. As you glide, you notice that each scene flows into the next like pages of a dream journal. The transition is seamless, no fade-outs or cuts, as in film. Instead, the DMN orchestrates a continuous narrative, slipping from one tableau to another. It uses associative links, shared colors, emotions, or shapes to bind chapters together. A red door becomes a red rose field, which fades into a sunset sky. Your brain's narrative drive seeks coherence, even while bending rules. In one moment, you stand at a shoreline under violet waves that glow from within. In the next, you face a city of glass spires, leaning into each other like dancers. You feel no surprise. Without waking skepticism, imagination reigns. This acceptance hints at The nature of consciousness. It trusts internal reality unless challenged. When you awaken, you realize how much of your waking life also relies on unspoken agreements of belief, gravity, object permanence, consistency. With each dream, you practice flexibility. Your brain learns that rules are not fixed but contextual. A melting clock no longer seems absurd once you've experienced it in dreams. This mental elasticity may benefit waking cognition, boosting creativity, problem solving, and emotional resilience. Studies suggest that REM dreaming enhances divergent thinking, the ability to link distant ideas. By traversing impossible dimensions asleep, you train your mind to see beyond conventional limits while awake. As the dream unfolds, you sense layers of consciousness intertwining. The thalamus, gatekeeper of sensory information, gates external stimuli, letting only muted sounds like a distant car horn slip through. This isolation deepens immersion, making the dream logic feel entirely self-contained. You trust this inner reality more fully than waking perceptions. Within this realm, memory threads weave through the tapestry. You recognize places never visited yet. They echo real roads, buildings, or landscapes. The hippocampus recombines fragments from your experiences, creating new scenes that feel both foreign and familiar. A street corner in your dream may borrow the curve of a canal from childhood, the lampposts from a film, and the sky's hue from a photograph. This blend of memory and creativity highlights how dreams reflect your personal history and imagination. Identity continues to shift. You might meet yourself for someone who seems like you but wears different eyes. Conversations between these selves unfold in calm tones. Through these dialogues, you explore internal conflicts or aspirations. The DMN facilitates this self-reflective loop, turning dreams into psychological mirrors. Without waking distractions, you can reconcile emotion with thought, giving voice to parts of yourself that daytime demands silence. Time stretches again. In one dream minute, you revisit decades of memory, childhood laughter, teenage heartbreak, adult triumphs, siege, unfolding like chapters of a book. Your brain's temporal lobes synthesize these memories fluidly, crafting a narrative that spans lifetimes. In waking life, memories feel fixed. In dreams, they become pliable, teaching you that perspective can reshape the meaning of events. Some dreams twist logic into puzzles. You may solve riddles without conscious effort or navigate mazes instinctively. In these moments, the prefrontal cortex's logical oversight is bypassed. You rely on intuition, deep associations formed by the DM to guide you. This intuitive problem solving echoes insights gained from dreams in scientific and artistic breakthroughs. The mind's unconscious processes reveal patterns hidden from deliberate thought. Amid these explorations, your sense of agency fluctuates. Sometimes you control the scene, deciding to soar or to transform a forest into a meadow. Other times, you watch passively as the dream unfolds. This oscillation mirrors the balance between volitional and automatic modes of cognition. By granting yourself permission to relinquish control, you nurture creativity and surrender to discovery. Ever shifting, the dream transports you to cosmic vistas. Stars swirl into whirlpools of light, galaxies curve like ribbons. In these astral landscapes, The brain's visual and parietal networks collaborate to simulate depth and motion across vast scales. You feel both infinitesimal and boundless. This paradox hints at consciousness's scope rooted in the body, yet capable of imagining the universe. Just as abruptly as it began, the dream begins to fade. Colors dim, shapes blur. You sense the external world, stirring a car passing outside, or your own breath catching. The cortex shifts back toward waking patterns. Dreams dissolve like morning mist, leaving impressions of broken rules and expanded possibility. When you open your eyes, reality seems both ordinary and extraordinary. You feel gratitude for the mind's hidden workshop, where time, space, and logic are tools to explore inner landscapes. You carry forward the dream's lessons, that reality is not a single fixed state, but a spectrum shaped by perception, memory, and emotion. Tonight, as you journey again into sleep, remember the broken rules you've encountered. Invite your brain to bend time, fold space, and blur identity. Let each surreal moment teach you about the vastness of consciousness. And as the next dream beckons, you may ask, if logic can bend so beautifully in sleep, what hidden dimensions await discovery? Within your waking mind, you drift into the currents of sleep, and the usual tapestry of dreams begins to unfold. Yet, within that familiar flow, a subtle shift can awaken a new dawn of awareness, lucidity. In this state, you sense a gentle tug at the edges of perception, echo of waking thought brushing against the dream's veil. You pause, noticing that the world around you feels as vivid as ever, but now you know you are dreaming. Neuroscience reveals that lucid dreaming arises when two distinct brain states overlap. REM sleep, the stage where most vivid dreams occur, activates sensory and emotional networks, while frontal regions, usually quiet in REM, reawaken just enough to enable self-reflection. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, seat of metacognition, flickers online. It whispers, "This is a dream," granting you the power to observe and influence the unfolding scene. Imagine floating above a moonlit lake made of liquid silver. You feel weightless, mesmerized by ripples expanding in perfect circles. Then, in a sudden spark of lucidity, you lift a hand and marvel as your fingers stretch into elongated tendrils of light. This moment when intention meets the dream defines lucid dreaming. You realize that the scenery is pliable, and with gentle thought, you can reshape it. Researchers use these signals suggest that higher-order thinking and dream imagery can coincide. It's as if your mind holds a lantern, shining it into the shadowed corners of sleep. You see patterns, more clearly symbols in the sky, hidden doorways in a wallland. Choose which to explore. Many lucid dreamers learn to cultivate this awareness through reality checks. During waking hours, asking, "Am I dreaming?" and performing simple tests, like trying to push a finger through a palm. Over time, this habit seeps into dreams, triggering lucidity when you perform the same checks in that alternate realm. Your brain becomes adept at questioning its reality. Even amidst surreal landscapes, once lucid, your intentions guide the dream's narrative. You might wish to fly on the wings sprout, carrying you through galaxies of color. You might will a conversation with a lost friend, and they appear at the edge of a sunbeam, eager to speak. You might confront a dark corridor or a looming figure in, watch it dissolve into harmless mist. In lucid dreams, you become both creator and hero, crafting experiences that awaken courage, joy, and wonder. Yet, lucidity also carries lessons. Because the prefrontal cortex remains partially engaged, you can reflect on your emotions and thoughts in real time. This real-time feedback can translate into waking life, teaching you to recognize and regulate feelings just as you do in dreams. Some lucid dreamers practice dream yoga, a form of mental training from ancient traditions. In this practice, awareness of the dream's nature becomes a path to explore consciousness itself. You observe how thoughts manifest as images, how intention shapes reality, and how identity flows across forms. Each lucid dream becomes a laboratory for self-discovery, where the borders of self and other blur. Neuroscientists are intrigued by these reports. Brain imaging in trained lucid dreamers shows unique patterns, simultaneous activation of REM regions, visual cortex, can integrate imagination and reflection in a single experience. It's a state neither fully dreaming nor fully waking, but something richly in between. In one study, counting to 10, spinning in a circle, or examining their hands, post-sleep interviews confirmed that they had indeed carried out these tasks within the dream. This bridge between brain recording and subjective report offers a scientific window into lucid dreaming's reality. As you explore a lucid dream, you may feel waves of disbelief joy at realizing this world obeys your will, awe at your mind's power, and a touch of fear at the unknown boundaries. You learn to balance intention with surrender. Push too hard, and the scene shatters. Let go gently, and the dream responds like water to a stone's ripple. Lucidity can also reveal the mechanics of dreams. You notice how scenes transition. A door closing here becomes a mountain peak there, orchestrated by subtle associations. You see how memory fragments fuel the narrative, how a childhood song plays softly as you glide over rooftops. This perspective illuminates dream construction in real time. Echoing what we discussed in the previous chapter, the interplay of visual cortex, memory centers, and the default mode network orchestrates your nightly journeys in this awakened state. You can even practice skills. Studies indicate that rehearsing a complex movement in lucid dreams, like playing piano or rehearsing a speech, can improve performance when awake. You awaken with greater confidence, as though you've practiced in another dimension. Yet, lucid dreaming is not always effortless. Many attempt to wake up to their dreams only to slip back into ordinary sleep before achieving awareness. Patience and practice are key. Techniques like the wake back to bed method, in which you wake after several hours of sleep, stay conscious briefly, then return to sleep, can increase the chance of inducing lucidity. During that wakeful window, your prefrontal cortex is warm and alert. Lucidity, your mind moves through gradients of awareness. Each state offers insights. Unconscious dreaming shows the mind's creative capacity. Waking life grounds you in the physical world. Together, they form a continuum of experience. Inside your lucid dream, you may experiment with time. You can recall your waking identity, your name, your life story while immersed in the dream. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex keeps the thread of self intact. even as the visual cortex paints surreal scenes. Some lucid dreamers report encountering archetypal figures, wise guides, inner shadows, or symbolic animals. These encounters can feel profoundly meaningful, as though your unconscious mind has summoned archetypes to teach or comfort you. You approach these figures with the confidence that lucidity brings, and they may impart insights that echo long after you awaken lucid. Dreaming also offers a unique way to process trauma. Therapists sometimes guide patients to confront nightmares while lucid, empowering them to change the storyline. A pursuer transforms into a friend. A dark room fills with light. By taking control in the dream, patients can diminish the nightmare's hold, reducing anxiety and improving sleep quality. This therapeutic use of lucidity underscores its potential for emotional healing. Creativity flourishes in lucid dreams. Artists describe painting in mid-air, sculpting shapes from starlight, or composing music with colors. Writers find dialogue flowing from their lips, like poetry they've never heard before. Because logical inhibition is relaxed but self-awareness remains, the dream state becomes a crucible for original ideas. Upon waking, creators often record these dream-born inspirations, which can spark projects in the waking world. Yet lucid dreams come with humility. No matter how skilled you become, the dream world retains a measure of unpredictability. Scenes can shift without warning. Intentions can backfire, producing chaotic imagery. Through these surprises, you learn to accept uncertainty, embracing the dream's fluid nature rather than forcing it into rigid structure. This mindset can carry into waking life, encouraging adaptability and openness. As dawn approaches, you feel the dream's edges soften. The call of the real world alight through the window, the stir of your own breath grows stronger. You may choose to wake, gently lifting yourself from sleep with lucidity's glow still warm in your mind. Or you may attempt a dream exit, spinning within the dream like a top, feeling the world blur until you slip through a veil into daylight consciousness. Upon awakening, you lie quietly, allowing the resonance of lucidity to settle. You recall the astonishing clarity, the sense of wonder at shaping reality with mere thought. You record details in a dream, journal images, emotions, insights. They endure beyond the dream's fade. This practice reinforces lucidity, strengthening the neural pathways that connect intention to dream state awareness. Lucid dreaming teaches you that the mind's boundaries are more porous than you might imagine. In sleep, your sense of self can expand, contract, and transform. You learn that awareness is a skill honed by curiosity and gentle practice. Each lucid dream invites you to step beyond the confines of ordinary perception and glimpse the deeper architecture of consciousness. Tonight, plant the seed of intention. If I dream, I will know it. With each night's rest, that seed grows, and the dream landscape awaits your awakened mind. And when you wake inside your next dream, you may wonder if you can become aware in sleep. What subtle awakenings still await in the day's quiet moments? You step through a doorway you've never seen, yet every corner feels familiar. The ceiling tilts at a gentle angle, as if leaning in to listen. Wallpaper, once bright with childhood cartoons, now shimmers in pale moonlight, its patterns shifting like sighs. This room, neither fully real nor wholly imagined, greets you with soft echoes of laughter that once danced here. Yet, when you reach to touch the banister, your hand passes through empty air. You realize you stand in a space born of memory and dream. Your brain cradles spatial maps like treasured journals. In waking life, the hippocampus records the layout of your home, the curve of the staircase, the width of the hallway, the angle of the window. At night, it replays these maps to build dreamscapes. But emotion spices these blueprints, joy tints the walls pastel. Anxiety warps the ceiling's angle. Longing elongates the hallway. In this recurring interlude, the same room returns, each time rearranged by feeling. You walk across a faded carpet that should feel soft, yet feels hollow. Under your feet, the pattern of vines twists into shapes you can't name, symbols of memories half remembered. You pause in front of a dresser where a mirror hangs crooked. You tilt your head to peer into it, but instead of your reflection, you see a younger version of yourself, eyes wide with wonder. The face shifts to fear, then calm acceptance, before dissolving into mist. Your spatial memory anchors you in place, even as the mirror's image changes. Why does this room reappear night after night? Neuroscientists believe that the brain consolidates spatial memories during slow-wave sleep. Place cells in your hippocampus fire in sequences that map locations you've visited. When you dream, these cells reawaken, replaying familiar routes. But each replay isn't an exact copy. It layers emotion onto the map. If you felt safe here, the room glows. If you felt alone, shadows lengthen across the floor. Emotion and location fuse into a single architecture. As you explore, you notice doors appear where none should exist. A closet door opens onto a forest of silver birch. A window leads to a starlit courtyard. Your brain stitches these portals by linking place cells with memory fragments of journeys you took outside your childhood home. Combined, they knit together a patchwork palace hafimagend. You pass through the closet door and stand beneath tall trunks. The night breeze carries distant birdsong, yet you return to the room as if drawn by a magnet. The forest corridor dissolves, and you find yourself collapsing onto a rug beside a low table. On it rests a photograph in a frame you've never seen. You hold it and feel the grain of the wood under your fingers. In the photo, a friend from yesteryear smiles, though you can't recall ever taking the picture. This image, planted by your dreaming brain, evokes warmth and nostalgia. Your emotional centers sing with recognition even without a waking memory. The room's walls pulse gently, as though breathing. Each breath expands the space, then contracts it slightly, like the rhythm of your own chest. This living architecture reflects how your brain integrates interoceptive signal sensations from within your body into its spatial maps. In the dark, your sense of balance and heartbeat feedback merge, making the room feel alive with your own rhythms. When your heart races, the pulses quicken. When you exhale, the walls relax. A soft light emerges from beneath a door you didn't notice before. You push it open and step into a hallway lined with photographs that shift as you pass. Each picture shows a different version of the very room you left, angles changing, colors transforming. The brain's parahippocampal place area specialized in recognizing scenes guides this gallery, curating spatial memories into evolving displays. It reminds you that no place is static in memory. Each recollection is colored by the moment you revisit it. In one photograph, the table glows amber. In another, it vanishes entirely. You reach toward a frame and feel its glass give way like water. You step through and emerge back on the carpet, though now it feels velvety, warm, and safe. You realize that this room is both anchor and canvas-rooted. In the maps, your brain constructed, yet endlessly repainted by emotion and imagination. You ascend a staircase that wasn't there seconds ago. Each step creaks with soft echoes of your own footsteps, yet the treads shimmer with the footprints of others' ghostly imprints that fade as you pass. The staircase spirals upward and then downward, folding in on itself in an Escher-like twist. Here, spatial memory coexists with dream logic. The parietal lobes allow you to navigate disorienting angles, while the default mode network weaves the scene into a coherent journey. At the top, a single chair sits beneath a skylight that frames a patch of sky filled with drifting clouds. You sit and gaze upward, feeling the weight of the room settle around you. You become aware that this space is an emotional landmark, your brain's way of anchoring significant feelings in a place like container. Recurring dreams of this room may signal unresolved emotions, safety longed for, comfort lost, innocence recalled. In waking life, spatial triggers can evoke emotions. A childhood kitchen's doorway can flood you with nostalgia. A familiar bus stop can quicken your pulse. In sleep, these triggers become the building blocks of dream architecture. Your brain shapes a room to house what words cannot hold. Here, emotions crystallize into walls and hallways, doors and windows. The room isn't real, yet it feels deeply true. You stand, brushing off imaginary dust, and walk to a fireplace embedded in the wall. The mantel holds mismatched objects: a single shoe, a yellowed letter, a small glass jar containing stardust. Each item radiates emotional resonance: loss, hope, wonder. Your brain's amygdala selected them from scattered memories, placing them here for reflection. You touch the letter and feel its fragile tissue-like touching a fragile hope you once carried. Suddenly, the room trembles and the ceiling opens to reveal kaleidoscopic light. You're lifted toward the threshold between dream and waking. The space dissolves into sparkling fragments, a signal that your sleeping brain is preparing to shift states. Rapid eye movement slows. Slow wave activity begins to seep in. The hippocampus closes its play cell sequences, and you glimpse yesterday's corridors dissolving. You hover between worlds, the room's final echo in your mind. You carry its lessons, that even in darkness, your brain maps emotions onto space, that recurring dreams guide you toward hidden feelings. The room that isn't real becomes a doorway to self-understanding, built by neural architects in the silent workshop of sleep. You drift into sleep, inviting calm and rest. Yet, sometimes, without warning, the darkness brings a different visitor: fear. A nightmare arises, vivid and urgent, a sharp twist in the dream's gentle current. Scenes darken, colors drain to gray, and your heart races as if pounding and urgent. Alarm. In that moment, you feel both lost and hyper-aware, as though your mind has stumbled into a shadowed room it cannot leave. Nightmares most often visit during REM sleep, when the emotional brain, especially the amygdala, glows with activity. In waking life, the amygdala alerts you to threats. This imbalance can turn an everyday worry, being late for work, forgetting a friend's name, into a monstrous chase through twisted corridors. You run, wings of panic flapping, until you awaken, gasping, drenched in sweat, heart echoing like thunder. But not all nocturnal fears occur in REM. Night terrors strike in the depths of non-REM sleep, often in the first third of the night. You sit up abruptly, eyes wide, but remain caught between sleep and wakefulness. You cannot fully recall a narrative, only a surge of terror. Your sympathetic nervous system fires, adrenaline floods, breathing quickens, and you may scream or thrash. Yet when you awaken fully minutes later, you have no memory of why you were afraid, only the residue of dread. These two phenomenal nightmares and night terrors share fear as their core, but their pathways differ. In REM, dreaming weaves stories that can scare you. In non-REM, autonomic panic can erupt without a story at all. Both kinds of fear serve an evolutionary purpose. Or environmental threats. Your brain's ancient wiring may be rehearsing responses to threats and imagined ones to keep you prepared. Triggers for nightmares can be simple: stress, anxiety, illness, or certain medications. Traumatic memories often manifest as recurring nightmares, replaying distressing events in loops. In these cases, the hippocampus, which stores memories, repeatedly activates the same neural circuits at night. Oversight, the trauma repeats unchecked, haunting your sleep. However, each awakening offers a chance for the brain to process and integrate those painful memories more gently over time. Night terrors, by contrast, often arise in children whose brains spend more time in deep non-REM sleep. Their limbic systems and autonomic responses can surge without the stabilizing influence of mature cortical networks. As the brain develops, these terrors typically fade. Neurological conditions. Understanding their roots helps you approach them with compassion rather than fear. What does fear feel like in these dark hours? In nightmares, you live the drama, being chased by shadows, trapped in crumbling buildings, or falling endlessly. Your senses awaken in the dream. You smell smoke, taste salt, feel the cold steel of a key in your hand. In terrors, the dream content remains elusive. You wake in terror without context. Both experiences can leave you shaking, longing for the calm return of sleep. Evolution shaped these responses. Nightmares may function as threat simulations, letting you practice danger responses in a safe arena. By facing fear in dreams, your brain can fine-tune fight or flight reactions without real-world risk. Night terrors may be a byproduct of deep sleep's physiological surges, a leftover echo from a time when sudden arousal at night could save your life. Yet fear in sleep need not leave lasting scars. Gentle techniques can soothe these dark visitors. Before bed, create a calm ritual: soft lighting, slow breathing, and gentle imagery. If nightmares recur, try imagery rehearsal therapy. Visualize the nightmares ending differently, transforming the fearsome scene into one of safety. By rehearsing this new ending while awake, you can retrain your brain to replace terror with calm. When a terror strikes, focus on grounding yourself. Recruit the prefrontal cortex, tethering you back to safety. Speak to yourself in a quiet whisper: I am safe. This will pass. Over time, These gentle interventions can weaken fear's hold, giving you a sense of agency in the face of night's shadows. You may wonder why some nights are calm, while others bring storms of fear. The answer lies in complex sleep architecture. Stress hormones like cortisol can spill into night, sensitizing the amygdala. Sleep fragmentation, waking briefly multiple times, can tip the balance toward non-REM arrest. Illness and fever can intensify both nightmares and terrors, as body and mind struggle to regain equilibrium. Even exploration of these dark dreams can bring insight. Emerge, a recurring door, a specific color, a familiar face. These symbols act as signposts, pointing toward unresolved feelings or fears. By gently exploring them, you transform nightmares from sources of dread into guides for emotional healing. You are not powerless in these landscapes. Just as lucid dreaming allows awareness and control, you can learn to cultivate lucidity in nightmares. When you realize you are dreaming, this is just a dream. I'm safe. Fear often loses its intensity. You can then reshape the nightmare, turning a chaser into a friend, or dispelling a dark cloud with a thought. Over time, these practices strengthen neural pathways of calm and control. Even night terrors, though less narratively rich, can be met with understanding. Recognize that your body is reacting to deep physiological currents, not to a conscious story. After a terror, ease back into sleep with soothing sounds or soft touch. Remind yourself that the terror arises from an overactive response system, not from real threat. Nightmares and night terrors remind you that sleep is not always a sanctuary. Sometimes it's a training ground for fear. Yet each dawn offers renewal. Your brain continues processing, integrating, and healing. Even the darkest dream fades in daylight, becoming one more thread in life's tapestry. As the weeks pass, you may find that fear itself follows a rhythm. Nightmares cluster when stress peaks, then recede as equilibrium returns. Terrors diminish as sleep deepens and the brain's regulatory circuits strengthen. Recognizing these cycles helps you approach periods of fear with patience, knowing that even terror has a season. Scientists study the brain's fear circuits to develop therapies. Exposure therapy, facing fearful images in a safe context, can reduce nightmare frequency. Medications that temper amygdala activity may also help. But often the gentlest approach combines cognitive tools with soothing rituals. A bedside lamp that casts soft shadows, a favorite melody, or the scented warmth of lavender can cue the mind toward calm before sleep. You might also explore before sleep. Imagine a serene landscape, a quiet meadow at dusk, a gentle stream under moonlight. Hold this image softly, like a petal in your hand. Your sleeping brain may weave it into your dreams, counterbalancing fear with tranquility. In community and sharing, fear loses its power. Talking about nightmares with a friend or therapist brings them into daylight, where perspective softens their grip. Knowing that others have walked similar paths reassures you that these shadows are part of the human experience, not a sign of weakness. Nightmares and terrors have evolutionary roots, but in modern life they sometimes overstay their welcome. When darkness invades too often, consider seeking professional support. Therapists trained in dream work can guide you through imagery techniques. Sleep specialists can evaluate underlying conditions. You deserve nights marked by rest, not dread. Still, every dream, even the frightening ones, speaks to your mind's capacity for vivid creation. Fear arises because your brain can weave stories so real that your body responds as if in danger. This power is a double-edged sword. It can terrify, but it can also heal, teach, and transform. By learning the patterns of fear, how it flickers in the amygdala, loops through memory circuits, and floods the body, you claim a gentle mastery over night's darker realms. Imagine, next time you drift off, a soft glow at the edge of shadow. This light is your awareness, reminding you that even in fear, you hold a lantern. You can navigate corridors of dread, find doors to safety, and wake with understanding rather than panic. Each night terror becomes a teacher, each nightmare an opportunity to grow. As dawn unfurls, your heart returns to a steady rhythm. The echoes of fear recede, leaving behind clarity and resilience. You carry forward the knowledge that darkness, like light, is transient. Your brain's fear circuits pulse and rest in cycles. Understanding these rhythms brings you peace. Tonight, invite compassion to accompany your sleep. When shadows stir, remember the dance of neurons in your amygdala and hippocampus, weaving fear into fleeting forms. Greet these forms with a soft whisper, "I see you, and I am safe," and breathe into calm. You lay down the burdens of the day at your bedside, worries, regrets, sorrows carried like stones in your pockets. As sleep's gentle tide rises, these stones begin to shift and settle, guided by processes hidden beneath the surface of awareness. In the sanctuary of REM sleep, your brain becomes a sleeping therapist, sorting emotional fragments and weaving them into patterns of healing. Science reveals that REM sleep is central to emotional processing. During this stage, the amygdala emotional sentinel remains active, re-experiencing feelings without the stress hormone cortisol's high tide. Meanwhile, the medial prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotion, re-engages, creating a safe context for processing intense memories. This unique neurochemical cocktail allows painful experiences to be revisited without overwhelming you, like watching a storm roll past from the safety of a warm room. Consider post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. People with PTSD often suffer from recurring nightmares that replay traumatic events, trapping them in loops of fear. Yet research shows that increasing REM sleep quality through therapy, medication, or lifestyle changes can reduce nightmare frequency and intensity. In one study, combat veterans who practiced imagery rehearsal, rewriting nightmares during waking hours, experienced not only fewer nightmares but also reduced PTSD symptoms overall. Their sleeping brain relearns safety, gently recasting trauma. Scenes with calmer endings. Your nightly journey mirrors this therapy. A distressing memory might surface as a vivid scene, a car crash, a harsh word, a moment of loss. In sleep, your brain steps in as guide, softening edges and introducing new perspectives. The hippocampus retrieves the memory. The prefrontal cortex frames it with context. The amygdala processes the raw emotion at a manageable level. You may dream of walking through a familiar street where once you felt fear. Now the street glows with a forgiving light. Grief follows similar pathways. After loss, your brain wrestles with absence, looping through questions of what if and if only. Without REM's therapeutic stage, grief can become frozen in waking thought. Yet with regular dreaming, your mind interleaves memories of the lost one into daily rhythms, helping integrate absence into the tapestry of life. Studies of bereaved participants show that dreaming of a deceased loved one can bring comfort and accelerate emotional adjustment, provided the dream tone shifts from distressing to comforting over time. Anxiety too finds relief in sleep's gentle rhythms. During REM, your brain simulates future threats in low-stakes environments, dreams of missed flights or forgotten deadlines. By rehearsing these scenarios safely, you build resilience for real challenges. Clinical trials reveal that people with generalized anxiety disorder who improve sleep quality report lower daytime anxiety. Their brains learn to distinguish between imagined and real threats, reducing hypervigilance. How does your brain enact this sleeping therapy? Neuroimaging shows that REM sleep coordinates networks differently than waking. The default mode network integrates autobiographical memory with self-reflection. The salience network prioritizes emotional information, and the central executive network, normally active in task focus, remains subdued. This configuration fosters free association and emotional integration, allowing your mind to reweave experiences without the judgmental lens of full consciousness. Metaphor brings this process to life. Imagine a quilt made of fabric, scraps, snippets of laughter, tears, triumphs, and regrets. During the day, these scraps accumulate in a heap, jumbled and overwhelming. At night, your brain collects each piece, laying them out on an invisible frame. It selects threads, insights, compassion, perspective, to stitch the pieces into a tapestry that wraps around you with warmth and meaning. By morning, the quilt feels familiar and comforting, its patterns echoing lessons learned in sleep. Clinicians sometimes harness this natural therapy in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia CBT patients. Learn relaxation techniques and sleep hygiene that enhance REM sleep. As sleep quality improves, their mood and emotional regulation follow. In pilot studies, adding imagery, rehearsal, therapy to CBTI boosts outcomes for patients with nightmares, PTSD, and chronic pain, demonstrating that better sleep not only restores energy, but heals emotional wounds. Even without formal therapy, simple practices can invite your sleeping therapist to work. Before bed, reflect gently on the day. Note a moment of joy, a challenge faced, a kindness given or received. Hold these memories lightly, like stones turned in your hand. Then release them to sleep's current. Your brain will carry these notes into dreams, weaving them into patterns that foster acceptance and growth. You might also keep a dream journal by your bedside. Upon waking, record a phrase, "I remember." Then write the first thing that comes to mind. Over time, you'll spot themes, repeated imagery, emotional undercurrents, symbolic threads. Recognizing these themes invites conscious reflection, enriching the sleeping therapy. You learn the language of your dreams, decoding the quilt's patterns to inform your waking self. Sleep environment matters too. A cool, dark, quiet room supports restful REM cycles. Avoid screens before bed. The blue light they emit suppresses melatonin and fragments sleep. Soft rituals, warm tea, gentle stretching, calming musics signal your brain that it's time for healing. Cultivating a consistent sleep schedule reinforces circadian rhythms that optimize REM proportion, giving your sleeping therapist more time each night. Across cultures, rituals acknowledge sleep's healing power. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods, offering guidance and restoration. Indigenous tribes used dream catchers to filter out harmful visions, letting only gentle dreams pass. Modern science translates these beliefs into neurochemistry, REM, sleep filters emotions, consolidates memories, and fosters creativity. The sleeping therapist works in silence, stitching wounds, closed stitch by stitch. As you drift deeper, notice how scenes shift with emotional tone. A scene of loneliness may transform into one of companionship. A fearful chase may resolve into calm observation. These shifts reflect the brain's reframing. Painful memories are revisited with new contexts, diluting their sting. Emotional granularity emerges. You feel not just sad or scared, but shades of loss, relief, hope. This nuance enhances waking emotional intelligence, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with greater empathy. Some conditions challenge this therapy. Depression often reduces REM latency, bringing REM on too quickly and fragments. Sleep cycles, impairing emotional processing. People with depression may experience more intense negative dreams. Targeted treatments, antidepressants that regulate REM therapy, addressing sleep behaviors can restore healthy sleep architecture, reviving the sleeping therapist's capacity to heal. In children and adolescents, REM intake is higher, offering abundant healing potential. Childhood fears, social anxieties, and burgeoning identity questions find resolution in dreams. Encouraging healthy sleep routines in youth supports emotional development, resilience, and cognitive growth. As the brain matures, it carries forward the lessons learned in these early nights. Dreams of self-compassion emerge as powerful tools. In lucid dreams, for example, you might encounter a younger self in distress. By offering comfort within the dream, you rehearse self-kindness that carries into waking life. Studies show that self-compassion practices reduce anxiety and depression. Lucid dream compassion may amplify these effects, providing direct experiential learning. Your dreams may also reveal hidden strengths. You might dream of facing an inner critic as a shadowy figure and dissolving it with light. This vivid rehearsal bolsters confidence and resilience. Neuroscientists call this emotional rehearsal, where dreaming allows repeated practice of adaptive coping strategies across cultures. Dream healers harness these processes. In Tibetan dream yoga, practitioners use dreams for psychological insight and spiritual growth. In British sleep clinics, imagery rehearsal therapy treats nightmares. In cognitive science labs, researchers track REM patterns to predict mood improvement. The sleeping therapist works globally, in temples and labs alike. A universal guardian of the mind's well-being, your journey through dreams is uniquely yours. No two quilts match exactly. By embracing sleep's healing potential, you engage in lifelong self-care. Each night's dream work complements daytime effort therapy, mindfulness, supportive relationships, creating a holistic tapestry of mental health. When you awaken tomorrow, carry softness for yourself. Recall a comforting dream, seen a sunrise over gentle waves. a kindly stranger's smile, the feeling of floating among starlight. Let that gentle image guide your morning intention. I am resilient. I am healing. As you move through the day, remember that your brain continues its therapy in quiet rhythms. Weaving new patches of under you lie in bed, the world hushed around you, yet sleep remains elusive. In the quiet, your mind races replaying the day's events, anticipating tomorrow, or spinning worries like threads tangled in the dark. This restlessness, when it persists night after night, becomes insomnia. Though it feels like a simple absence of sleep, insomnia reveals deep connections between the mind's vigilance systems and the fragile architecture of slumber. Your brain's arousal networks typically quieted for sleep remain active, scattering the gentle waves that usher you into restorative rest. As you toss and turn, you may notice the bedroom's shadows deepening like ink. You scan the ceiling, four shapes, willing your eyelids to close. Yet each attempt invites tension, muscles tighten, breathing quickens, and your amygdala, sentinel of threat, sweeps for danger. In this state, cortisol spikes, echoing a racial alarm. Your brain misfires in the quiet of night. The normal progression into non-REM stages stalls, and your dream makers never get a chance to build their nightly worlds. Insomnia illuminates how essential the balance between arousal and inhibition is for dreaming. Without the brain's ability to dampen wakeful circuits, the slow oscillations of non-REM sleep, from stage 1's gentle drift to stage 3's deep waves, never unfold fully. REM sleep, where vivid dreams bloom, remains out of reach. You feel the absence of dreaming as an emptiness, as though a painter's canvas stayed blank through the night. Contrast this with REM behavior disorder, where inhibition fails in the opposite direction. Here, your body refuses its nightly paralysis. During REM, most people experience atonium muscle paralysis that prevents dream enactment. In REM behavior disorder, that paralysis lifts. You might speak, shout, or even thrash, rehearsing a dream's action in the real world. A dream of escape may send you lurching out of bed. A nightmare of falling may provoke actual stumbles. This disorder lays bare how the brain normally safeguards both dream and body by uncoupling movement from imagery. In both insomnia and REM behavior disorder, the boundary between waking and dreaming phrase. Insomnia keeps you too close to wakefulness. REM behavior disorder drags dreaming into the waking realm. Each reveals a fragile switch in the brainstem that toggles, muscle tone, a hinge upon which the dream world rests securely within the dark. Then there is sleep paralysis, another twilight phenomenon where dreaming spills into wakefulness. You, Wycor, try to, but your body remains locked in REM's atonia. You lie aware of your surroundings, heart pounding, yet unable to move a finger. Many report a pressure on the chest or a sense of a presence in the room. Scientists explain these experiences as a mixture of retained REM image hallucinations from the pons and midbrain and wakeful awareness without motor control. The result is a haunting hybrid, half in dream, half in reality. Sleep paralysis offers a glimpse into how rapidly the brain can shift states. Normally, the pons orchestrates a smooth transition out of REM. It quiets cholinergic signals that promote atonia, reactivates motor pathways, and restores voluntary movement. In sleep paralysis, this choreography falters. You exist momentarily in a liminal zone, sensing both worlds. Though frightening, this state also reveals how seamlessly the sleeping brain can weave hallucination and perception, and how important motor gating is to keep them apart. Narcolepsy presents another disturbance, where REM sleep intrudes unpredictably into daytime. You may feel overwhelming sleepiness, slipping into REM within minutes of lying down or even while seated at a desk. Some experience cataplexy, sudden muscle weakness triggered by strong emotions, as if REM atonia reaches into waking life. Others report dreamlike hallucinations at sleep onset or upon awakening. These manifestations highlight how narcolepsy disrupts the normal sequencing of sleep stages, fracturing the night's tapestry and scattering dreams across the clock. Narcolepsy's root often lies in diminished hypocretin orexin, signaling in the hypothalamus, a neurotransmitter that stabilizes wakefulness. Without that anchor, REM and non-REM boundaries waver, and the architecture of dream cycles crumbles. You gain a visceral understanding that dreaming depends on delicate chemical balances, cycled by circadian and homeostatic drives. Obstructive sleep apnea, too, jams the dream machinery with repeated arousal. As airways collapse, oxygen dips, and the brain jolts awake briefly, gasping. These micro-awakenings fragment non-REM and REM sleep, preventing sustained dream periods. You might recall only isolated images fragments of dreams and wake, unrefreshed. Daytime fog and mood swings follow, testifying to how essential uninterrupted dream cycles are for both physical and mental health. Beyond these, restless legs syndrome can keep you from settling into non-REM's slow waves. A creeping urge in your limbs demands movement, disrupting the dance of drowsiness. Without deep non-REM and subsequent REM, dream synthesis stalls. You sense dreams as distant echoes, not the vivid journeys they could be. Each of these disorders underscores the complexity of sleep's neural choreography. From brainstem nuclei that gate muscle tone to hypothalamic centers that balance arousal, and from limbic regions that ignite emotion to cortical networks that weave narrative, dreaming relies on finely tuned systems. When even one falters, the dream world fractures or vanishes. But these disruptions also remind you of sleep's miracle when it works. Each night, you cycle through stages, a descent into non-REM's gentler realms, a pause in deep, slow waves, then ascent into REM's kaleidoscopic visions. Atonia protects you, time perception flexes, spatial mapping flows, emotional processing unfolds. Ordinary sleep is an orchestration, so seamless you rarely notice until it stumbles. Medical advances offer hope for many with sleep disorders. Continuous positive airway pressure, CPAP, can restore dreams in sleep apnea. Medications and behavioral strategies can manage restless legs and narcolepsy. Clonazepam or melatonin may reduce REM behavior disorder. Cognitive behavioral therapy can ease insomnia by retraining arousal responses. Each treatment helps reassemble the dream machinery, letting you reclaim nights of vivid journeys. Yet, beyond medical intervention, gentle self-care can soothe the disturbed dream. Establishing a consistent bedtime ritual, dim lights, calming sounds, mind-wandering journaling signals your brain that it's safe to disengage from worry. Physical comfort, comfortable pillows, a cool room, spine-supported mattress reduces micro-arousals, Limiting stimulants and heavy meals before bed gives the brain breathing space to descend into sleep stages. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques bolster your inner switchboard. A body scan, guiding awareness through each muscle group, quiets limb restlessness. Deep diaphragmatic breathing calms amygdala activation that fuels insomnia or night terrors. These practices enhance parasympathetic tone, helping the slow waves of non-REM to consolidate and paving the way for REMs, DREAMS, CAPES. And as you nurture these rhythms, you may find that even a disturbed dream can become a guide pointing toward the hidden mechanics of rest and leading you gently into the next chapter's exploration of how to cherish and protect the fragile art of sleep. Standing tonight. Rest in the knowledge that sleep is an ally. Let the sleeping therapist weave through your dreams, sorting, soothing, and stitching emotional wounds. Trust that in morning's light, you will be stronger, calmer, and more whole. And as the next chapter beckons, you may ask, how do the stories we dream become the stories we live in? What new patterns await in the quiet loom of sleep? You settle into twilight's gentle fold, surrendering body and mind to sleep's embrace. Yet even as you drift, questions shimmer at the edges of awareness. Why do we dream? What purpose fills those silent hours? In the expanse of sleep research, these questions remain mystery stars on the horizon of understanding, glowing with possibility, yet just out of reach. Consciousness itself is the grand frontier. In waking life, you navigate a stable world bound by gravity and logic. In dreams, you wander without those anchors, moving through landscapes conjured from within. Neuroscience locates consciousness across networks, the thalamus gating sensory input, the cortex weaving perception, the default mode network stitching self-awareness. But how these systems unite to create the vivid theater of dreams remains unclear. Each night, your mind performs a feat of creativity and integration that science still strives to decode. Creativity blooms in dreams like nocturnal flowers. Artists and scientists throughout history have credited dreams with breakthroughs. Melville's whale, Kekule's benzene ring, Van Gogh's swirling skies. In dreams, your brain's associative machinery runs free, linking distant ideas across memories. Domains. Hippocampal neocortical dialogues spark novel combinations, melody from childhood merging with the hue of sunset, a solution to a puzzle melding with a fragment of song. This creative crucible hints that dreams are more than processing, they are innovation. Altered states accompany these innovations. Lucid dreaming blends wakeful awareness with dream immersion, offering insight into how consciousness can flex and expand. In some people, hypnagogic or hypnopompic visions arise at the borders of sleep, revealing the mind's spectral creativity. Even substances or meditation can modulate dream content, suggesting that neuromodulators like serotonin, acetylcholine, and norepinephrine shape the dream's palette. Yet, exactly how chemical shifts translate into subjective wonder remains a frontier of inquiry. Dreams may also bridge mind and body. Recent studies find that sleeping on a pain condition can reduce its intensity over days, as REM sleep reprocesses the sensory-emotional imprint. Other research suggests that immune challenges modulate dream content. Feverish dreams carry warmer hues, reflecting body state influences on the dreaming brain. These findings hint that dreams integrate physiological signals with memory, guiding mind-body balance in ways still to be mapped. Even the architecture of dreams defies full explanation. Why does the brain cycle through non-REM and REM every 90 minutes? Evolution offers clues. Alternating stages consolidate different memory types, procedural, declarative, emotional, so that by morning your brain has archived yesterday's learning. Yet why REM specifically carries the vivid narratives remains uncertain. And why do some animals, from birds to reptiles, show REM-like states, while others barely dream? Comparative research barely scratches the surface of nature's dreaming panorama. Technology opens new windows. High-density EEG, intracranial recordings, and real-time fMRI allow glimpses into dream content. Researchers have reconstructed simple images from visual cortex patterns in sleeping participants. Machine learning can decode dream category faces, places from brain activity. But these tools remain crude compared to the richness of your nightly stories. The gap between neural signals and the soul of a dream is vast, inviting humility and wonder. Philosophy joins the inquiry. Are dreams a second world, as Descartes mused, or merely the mind's echo chamber? Some philosophers argue that dream experiences challenge notions of reality and self. If in sleep you can feel fear, joy, and wonder, what grounds conscious existence? Others propose that dreaming is a form of offline cognition, a rehearsal space where the self experiments with possibilities beyond waking constraints. These perspectives enrich scientific exploration with questions of meaning. Cultural traditions have long honored dreams as messengers. Indigenous elders interpret dreams as guidance from ancestors. Greek temples cultivated healing dreams. Eastern philosophies practiced dream yoga to explore consciousness. Though science often views dreams through reductionist lenses, these traditions remind you of the intimate, symbolic dialogue dreams foster. They invite you to trust your inner wisdom as science seeks to catch up. Sleep itself stands as a marvel. Each night you traverse a labyrinth of neural corridors, cycling through stages countless times. Your brain silences sensory gates, yet conjures vivid worlds. It paralyzes movement to prevent enactment of risky scripts, yet simulates motion and emotion with astounding realism. These feats speak to an intricate design, intricate and still mysterious. As you reflect on these mysteries, you realize that dreaming is a personal journey and a universal one. Your dreams are uniquely yours, woven from your memories, fears, hopes, and curiosities. Yet each dream echoes a shared architecture, a common neural stage where all human minds perform. In this duality, individual and collective dreams stand as nature's most intimate laboratory. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, consider this: your brain is both scientist and subject. It experiments on its own experiences, generating data in the form of imagery and emotion, then integrating results into waking life. You are a researcher and research, exploring the mind's frontiers from within. What new discoveries await in tomorrow's dreams? What patterns will you trace? What questions ignite? And though science marches forward, each answer only deepens the mystery. When researchers decode a dream's image or map the circuits of lucidity, new layers of complexity emerge. Consciousness reveals itself as a fractal. Each swirl of understanding uncovers further depth. In this sense, dreams may be the most fitting metaphor for knowledge itself, ever expanding, richly textured, and joyously elusive. Within your skull, billions of neurons converse in patterns we barely grasp, yet every night they arrange themselves into stories that carry you across inner worlds. In those worlds, you confront fears, revisit joys, forge creative insights, and glimpse the edges of consciousness itself. What dreams may come then is not merely what you will dream tonight, but what you will discover about yourself and the mind's boundless terrain. Consider the question of memory consolidation. We know REM sleep plays a role in embedding emotional and procedural memories, but the precise mechanisms remain opaque. Do dreams merely reflect the process, or do they actively shape the neural rewiring? Experiments disrupting REM reduce emotional learning, suggesting dreams are more than epiphenomenality, are active participants. Yet teasing apart dream content from neural processes challenges researchers. How do you measure meaning in a neuron's dance? Creativity, too, remains a shining unknown. Dream-inspired breakthroughs occur across disciplines, from Einstein's thought experiments on relativity to modern chemists' molecular designs. What aspect of the dreaming brain unlocks this generative power? Is it the decoupling of logic during REM that frees associative leaps, or a specific dialogue between hippocampus and prefrontal cortex that fosters novel synthesis? Unlocking this secret could transform education, therapy, and innovation. Yet we stand at the threshold, awed by the mind's nocturnal creativity. Consciousness during dreaming further complicates our map of awareness. Some dreams grant you only passive observation, like watching a play. Others allow full participation or even control in lucid states. These variations hint at layers of selfhood, core consciousness, tracking presence, extended consciousness, weaving narratives, and metacognition, evaluating reality. Mapping these layers remains a frontier. Can we pinpoint neural markers for each, and could that knowledge help illuminate disorders of consciousness in waking life, such as coma or vegetative states? The cultural dimension of dreams continues to enrich our understanding. Indigenous elders teach that dreams connect past, present, and future, linking personal journeys to ancestral wisdom. Modern psychology acknowledges the power of symbolic imagery for meaning-making and emotional healing. Integrating these perspectives with neuroscience offers fertile ground. Could dream-based interventions harness cultural practices to support mental health globally? The synthesis of tradition and science may reveal pathways for holistic well-being. Yet, for all we speculate, the heart of dreaming remains a mystery. Each night you step into a private theater where the next scene is always unknown. You cannot predict the exact imagery, the emotional arc, or the adventures that await. This unpredictability is part of dreaming's beauty. It invites curiosity, vulnerability, and openness. When you wake, the residue of a dream may linger as a question whispered at dawn, a question that guides your thoughts through the day. As the brain's sleeping therapist, dreaming heals old wounds and forges new strengths. As the mind's artist, It paints worlds no brush could capture. As the consciousness explorer, it charts realms where self and other, dream and reality, converge. Yet each of these roles invites further inquiry. What patterns underlie universal dream themes? How do individual differences, genetics, life history, culture influence dream landscapes? And can we learn to navigate our dreams with greater skill, using them consciously to enrich our waking lives? Technological advances continue to push boundaries. Brain-computer interfaces may one day allow us to share dream fragments, deepening empathy and connection. Virtual reality could simulate dreamlike states for healing and creativity, informed by neuroscience. But even as we innovate, the act of dreaming of lying still, closing your eyes, and letting the mind wander remains the most accessible gateway to this inner frontier. No device can replicate the authenticity of your own nighttime journeys. Tonight, you will step into the theater of your mind once more. You may find familiar scenes reimagined, or you may wander into uncharted corridors of imagination. You might awaken with laughter, tears, or wonder. Each experience, no matter how fleeting, adds a stitch to the tapestry of yourself. Dreams remind you that you are not just the sum of your waking moments, but the curator of an inner cosmos rich with meaning. As morning breaks, you carry the glow of unanswered questions within you, the mysteries of dreaming, of why, how, and what remain, bright beacons in the dark. You may never fully solve them, yet each night's exploration brings insight, healing, and inspiration. The unknown frontier of dreams is not a void, but a landscape, alive with possibility waiting for your return. And as you drift into sleep's embrace, let the stars of those mysteries guide your journey, knowing that in exploring dreams, you explore the boundless landscape of your own mind.